On today's show, we're putting our reputations on the line as we debate, rank, and count down our top 20 fantasy basketball draft picks for this season. Let's get it going. Welcome back to the Full Court Press podcast, where we pick up 94 feet and talk hoops the right way. I'm one of your hosts, Brian Joyner, joined as always by Ben Clark. Are you ready to apply some pressure to these topics today, Ben?
Absolutely. Look at us in our fresh new merchandise.
Shout out, Ben.
Hot off the Full Court Press.
Yeah.
So we're excited.
No,
Feels
it's
like
exciting, man.
a whole new show now.
Yeah, and also shout out to Ben. He got us some of these little cups. Sorry, the glare may be a little bit bad, but got some cups with the logo on there. Man, we're rocking and rolling, man.
Making it big time, man. One subscriber at a time.
Quite literally.
Yeah.
You got anything for me today, Ben?
Not particularly, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on LeBron to Philly. Just quick thoughts. We don't have to go too into it, but how you feel about that?
I think that it's a fine fit, I guess. I don't know, for $8 million, like, why not? Why not for Philly? For LeBron, I guess it's him. My dad and I had this conversation a couple of days ago, and he kind of made a point that LeBron's always trying to chase like wanting to be one of one. He wants to find some way to differentiate himself from the Jordans and Kobe's and these top flight guys. And the last way he has a chance to is to win 4 championships with 4 different rosters. Or 4 different franchises, and he'll be the first player to ever do it. Players have done 3 championships with 3 different teams or whatever, but he'd be the only one to do 4. So
he won't, by the way. But
what do you mean?
He's not going to win.
Oh, you don't think so? Well, I don't think so either. But we'll see. He's got 2 years to do it.
No, I feel the same way. I'm optimistic for them. Obviously, it gives them a good chance from where they were last year, but. The East is still pretty tough, and there's a lot of big dogs over there now. So it's going to be a tough road either way, but at least it gives me somebody to root for a little bit more in the East now.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sway me any way or another. I'm not I like LeBron. I've never been like, oh, LeBron, I hate him. Wherever he goes, I hate him. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not like moved by anywhere he goes, as long as I'm just glad kind of that he goes to the East. Like, finally. Can we get some balance over there? Like, I hope Kawhi goes over there. I hope it all works out.
Yeah.
And so get all these heavy hitters out of the West and move them to the East.
Anything helps, man. Anything helps for our poor Mavs. We'll see.
We'll see. I'm optimistic, but we'll see. No, but today's show, we have a good one. We're going to kind of break down our top 20, I guess, draft picks coming up for this year's fantasy draft. I guess people are probably looking at doing their drafts in the next month or 2 or so.
It's an early top 20, but
it's a little early.
Can't imagine they'll change too much, but we reserve the right to change our rankings at any point.
That's a good disclaimer. I should put that at the bottom. Subject to change.
Yeah, but we feel pretty confident about starting it off with these top 20, and they may change it slightly as the season gets closer, if there's injuries or whatnot, or we get some news about Kawhi is a big one, but we'll see. Maybe.
I don't know. We'll get to there. We'll get there when we get there. But So I figured we'd start at the top of our list here, and we can talk one by one, but I feel like we should probably group this top 3 together, because it feels like the top 3 is pretty set, unless you have somebody who's just like a truther on one of these, like if they really believe in Giannis or they really believe that Shea's gonna, something like that. But the top 3 we have here are Wemby, Jokic, and Doncic. And on our combined list, we have Wemby 1, then Jokic 2, and Doncic 3. Do you want to talk through what you were thinking about when you put this list together?
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction with the tier 1, being these 3 guys. Last year it was almost a 4 or 5 guy tier in some sense. Jokic kind of stood out among the rest to some degree, but we kind of lumped those top 5 together last year with Giannis included and Shea as well. But I think we're both kind of seeing this top 3 step out a little bit this year, with Luka taking over the reins in LA, kind of becoming this clear-cut, probably 3rd comfortable option. I think we see Wemby and Jokic as the top 2, regardless of format. It might, we were talking about this, it might change if you have certain bonuses for triple doubles or double doubles, or defensive stats are worth more in your league. Then we could certainly see Wemby or Jokic going kind of 1A, 1B. It just depends on what your league is set up to accommodate. But I do think we're both, and you can speak up on your side too, but we both feel Wemby is going to take another step next year to where he will be pretty much on par, if not surpass Jokic finally.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been a couple of years in the making that we've wanted that, but I think we've saw flashes, especially in the playoffs and towards the end of the season last year, where he was just putting up numbers that I feel like he's going to outpace Jokic pretty comfortably in. So really just depends on those bonuses on at least on my end.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it matters big time. I mean, I'll start off with some stats here though, but because I think it's important to note that ADP for 25-26 for Wembanyama was 3rd. He usually went around 3rd. Average points per game 49.3 fantasy points per game, and then finished 6th total in fantasy points. But he did miss time a little bit during the season there. Played, relatively healthy season, so it's a good sample size for what you can expect going into next year, plus what you can see him growing into. I'm interested more though in now, thinking about it a little more, they draft all these bigs. It's are they trying to kind of rest Wemby a little more than they did in the past? He's still young still, but a guy like that, you need to find time to sit him. So I'm interested to see about that though. So I'll ask you though, what if you have a league where you do get extra points for blocks, right? And then also on top of that, you get extra points for triple doubles, which is most leagues. Which do you value more over the other?
It does depend on the bonus itself, but I think triple doubles probably, just because you're getting probably more stats in that regard with rebounds and assists. Whereas if you're getting blocks and steals, I had Wemby last year versus Jokic, and Wemby was kind of keeping pace, but anytime Jokic gets that triple double, which he gets a lot of, that's an extra 10 points versus, Wemby gets, 1 or 2 more blocks than Jokic does, and it's 8 points. So it's close, but, at least in our league settings, I'd probably lean Jokic still. But like we said, we're kind of anticipating Wemby to make another jump, whereas Jokic, I don't know how he makes another jump, because
he doesn't.
He's been at his peak, it feels like, for 4 or 5 years in a row, right? So
I think this is where I got stuck, is because every year I do this, right? He finished 1st overall in total points throughout the season, and it's maybe recency bias, where it's I just every year I'm he's probably somebody's gonna jump him, right? Somebody's gonna move up. Luka's gonna move up above him, Shea or Wemby now. It's somebody's got to, right? And then nobody does, and it's maybe I should have just stuck to my guts and said Jokic number 1 overall. But here I am again saying Wemby probably number 1. But that's just, I bring it up because I went through that debate myself, and I just feel like Wemby getting 3 to 4 blocks a game will make up for Jokic's triple double every 2 or 3 games, maybe, or 4 games. Sometimes you go a week without a triple double. I don't know. I just feel through the pace of the season, Wemby's going to get you 8 to 10 points off of blocks alone, where Jokic is going to get you 10 points up, I guess, more with a triple double. But how often does that happen based on how many times Wemby's going to get these block numbers?
Yeah, that and coupled with, I think Wemby hasn't been a double-double machine yet in his career. He's been very, very close, but I do think moving into next year, his 3-point shooting, I think he's going to continue to develop that, and then I'd expect more rebounds this year than what he averaged. So I do think those kind of help elevate him to Jokic's level, regardless of triple doubles, which is kind of what we're leaning on, putting him just slightly above. I think they'll be pretty neck and neck, assuming full health for both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Wemby and Jokic finished comfortably in the top 10 last year, despite missing time, both of them. And it's just hard to put anybody else even in that realm. But I guess moving to Luka, why do you have him, like me, elevated above the next couple guys?
I mean, he's the last guy that's like guaranteed double average, almost triple double averages throughout the season. And the reason why I don't even put him higher than the two guys we just talked about is because of injury history. Like, he just is going to miss games, and that's a bummer. But when he does play, I mean, he averaged, let's see, so last year he was drafted around 5th. He averaged 55.5 points a game, fantasy points a game, and ended up 2nd. Yeah. And so even then he missed time last year. So finished up 2nd overall in total points and missed, a portion of the season. And it's like, this guy just produces at an ungodly level. It's like, and his roster is going to be better this year, supposedly. Who knows? But like, on paper, it looks like it's going to be more cohesive than it was in the past. And I think losing LeBron is going to help him, because then you don't have to have this another playmaker. It's just going to be him and Reeves battling it out for who's going to bring the ball up the floor every time. So
yeah, I totally agree, and I think this goes back to our point that we made when we were called out pretty publicly about our blueprint. What is the Luka blueprint, right? Of success. And I think to your point, this roster that they've constructed this year, I mean, this has potential to be one of Luka's, I think, most in line with that blueprint that we discussed, right? He's got a couple shooters coming in. He's got Kessler in the pick and roll now. He's got Reeves as a great ball handler, kind of like a Brunson-esque, role when they made it to the finals there, where that's kind of what you're looking for Luka, as long as he doesn't have to shoulder the load of, bringing up the floor every time or taking 30 shots a game, which I think Reeves is going to get his too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty solid construction for him. Maybe they're still lacking a little bit of talent to beat some of the top guys in the West, but at least it gives you kind of a similar style team to that 2023-24 roster with the Mavs, with a little bit more depth than what we had at that time. So definitely optimistic. I do think he's just going to run it back from last year with a lot more cohesion, a lot more ability to kind of run the team his way instead of having to defer to LeBron at different times. Not that they played a ton together with injuries and stuff, but I do feel like it's more his team now, and he always has shown when it's his team and they run it his way, he's going to produce.
No, for sure. That's kind of that. Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to put him above. I mean, I know Shea, like these other guys are all number ones on their teams, right? But like, they're not bringing the other, beside one other guy, they're not bringing the day to day. Every game is like, he has a chance to get a triple double during this game, and like, have 50 points and like 40 points and like these huge scoring outputs. Because we're going to get to Jalen Johnson here in a little bit, but like that's kind of where I don't put him anywhere near Luka. Is like Jalen Johnson just doesn't have that like 40-point explosion in him, or consistently.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's like, I don't know. So anyway, so that's kind of where I put Luka below the first two, but kind of above this second tier of guys that I have. And let's get into these guys. So we both decided and kind of agreed that Shea would then go 4th. The most consistent guy. Like
reluctantly, yes.
So he finishes 4th total last year at 48.3 fantasy points a game. He's just consistent. I mean, you just know what you're going to get, and he plays almost 82 games this season, and the team is still focused around him, and it's just, I don't see why. I mean, now with Jalen coming back, that could, maybe, but we thought this last year and it didn't happen. But like they could just decide like, hey, let's get Shea a little bit of rest, and let's get these guys, Jalen Williams and Chet, and these guys to kind of pick up some slack a little bit. But didn't happen then, and I don't see it happening in this season. So
Yeah, it was hard for me to where I wanted to try to drop him a little bit. Just
No.
I think we're both a little tired of seeing him up there and just the success that he's had.
Yeah.
But it's hard to not trust that he's going to go out there and score 30 points a game, especially the way that the referees are handling him. I do expect a little bit of change on that front to where maybe he's not getting 12 free throws a game or
Yeah,
whatever
or more.
crazy average he had, but he's still going to get some for sure. But
Yeah.
since they're a little bit more aware of that, you always expect a slight decline on that front, and getting Jalen back and having different weapons this year, I think it only cuts into his usage and his volume slightly. So I think that's why we separated him from the top three, kind of in his, not his own tier, but with the next couple of guys that I think we're pretty comfortable that he'll probably outpace them slightly, and kind of be between those top three and the next two guys. But he's certainly hard to drop too much farther than 4.
No, I don't think. I mean, anybody taking him 5 and below in the first round, I mean, you're getting a steal. I don't know who. That's what I'm thinking. Is like unless you have somebody who really believes in Giannis or maybe Cade too. I kind of debated a little bit with Cade.
There's truthers out there like Doug. He's going to take Cade.
Yeah,
top 2, top 3.
Go Doug, go for it, man. I just don't. I don't, especially Cade with the roster that he has, didn't change much. Like they didn't do anything. They lost a key player for them, like
probably got a little worse.
Tobias Harris and stuff. And like, who knows? Is Jalen Duren going to come back? If Jalen Duren does come back, and the Pistons have like stronghold him into like a $20 million deal when he wants 30, is he going to be mad about that? Like, I don't know. This roster, that roster's tough. But anyway, so 5th and 6th, we have Jalen Johnson and Cade Cunningham, like we talked about. You in your list had Jalen Johnson above Cade, and I had Cade above Jalen. But I was going to get your opinion on why Jalen above Cade.
Yeah, no, it was tough. Originally I even had Jalen above Shea, but then I ended up switching that. So I had Shea above him. But there's just so much potential with Jalen. I mean, we've seen the last year and a half to where he is becoming even more of a triple-double threat, which they'll carry so much weight in our league, obviously, across the board. They're super helpful. And Cade just doesn't quite have that in my eyes. I mean, he certainly has the potential to get a triple-double any given night, but generally speaking, he's going to go points and assists, and then he'll be close on the rebounds. It seems like every night Jalen's, even if it's a low triple-double, like 19, 10, and 10, or 25, 12, and 11, he's right there every single game. And obviously them getting rid of Trey, and they've got more guards now that may handle the ball a little bit more, so he's a little shy on the assist mark, but it seems like they're really building through him. So it was hard for me to put him below Cade for that respect, and I mean, he's still so young and developing. I only see his scoring getting better as the years go on. It's Cade, same thing, but I kind of distinguished him in that regard.
Yeah, I debated back and forth putting these two guys a lot, but I went with Cade for the reasons that we kind of talked about when we talked about him a little bit. Was that so he finished he drafted 7th, finished 46.3 fantasy points per game, and then 13th overall, where Jalen Johnson finished 3rd in the season, and I had Jalen Johnson on my team for most of the year.
Well, he's generously gifted to you from
generously.
Someone. Yes.
Generously. You had to take you believed in Cooper Flagg.
I did.
Some other guys. I don't even remember who was in that deal really, but but he surprised me a lot with his playmaking. I just didn't think he had it in him to play make the way he does. But out of the like mid post, he's a great passer to these cutters. And Nikola Alexander-Walker's a great cutter. Dyson Daniels, that's the only way he's going to score is cutting. And so those two guys just flying around the court, like it just opened up lanes for him, and I was very impressed by that. So I'm curious if they stay with that, or if maybe his playmaking goes down. It's hard to say, but he kept it up the whole season, so I was like, I feel good about his playmaking. But Cade, on the other hand, I do believe in his 3-point. It's like triple-double potential, like more than I think Jalen Johnson. That's kind of why I had it above him.
Okay.
And the ball's in his hand.
Same page, just different page.
The ball's on his hand. The ball is in Cade's hand, like 90% of the game. And they did not. This season, I thought, this offseason, I thought, well, they're going to bring in some guards. And they bring in a Corey and stuff like that, like rookies. But you're not going to trust a Corey with the keys like right away. The second unit, So it's like, Cade again is going to come in and have like super high usage and have the ball in his hand a lot, almost a whole game if he's in it. And I don't see why his numbers dip at all from the last season to this season. So I like the consistency of that, over who knows what's going to happen in Atlanta. And also Jalen Johnson does have injury history. Like he did get hurt, missed a lot of last season, not 2 seasons ago. Missed some time this season, but hopefully he can stay healthy. And if he stays healthy, that's why they're kind of in the same spot here.
Yeah. I think they're going to be so close that, obviously you're kind of splitting the hairs here, but can certainly see it going either way. I think we both have the eye on the potential for both of them. Mm-hmm. So pretty comfortable tier right there with just right behind Shea. Shea's consistency kind of weighs out. He's proven he can do it year in, year out. These other guys they've done it recently, but can they continue to grow and surpass him?
Right. And then next on our list, we had Giannis, which is kind of a drop. It's so hard to predict because he goes to Miami. We don't particularly believe in his fit there. Don't know how that offense is going to run with him and Bam. Giannis has never been really a playmaker. So, it's like, and Bam's an okay playmaker, but like not great. So I don't know their big to big passing. Is that going to be there? Giannis has shown he thrives with a 4 out, 1 in offense. And this is going to be the furthest from it that he's ever played with. So it's like, I don't know. That's why he slides down my list, but maybe he has the potential to, like, who knows, be top 3 going into this season. Cause he's still, a 35 point scorer, going to get you 14 rebounds a game and like 2 blocks and who knows how many assists, maybe close to 5, but 5 is generous, I think, on my end. But
yeah, my only concern, like you said, obviously the offense, and we've had this debate with people that, the Miami Heat last year had the number 1 transition offense. Mm-hmm. Were they good at it? Absolutely not. No. They just decided that's what we're going to do because that's what our roster is constructed to do.
Right.
And we're just not very strong at it. So how do you go from that to now you've shipped out several of those transition pieces like Hero, Jokic didn't play as much to begin with, but towards the end of the year was playing more. Jaime Jaquez was a big role player for you. So now you've kind of changed the mold of your team to where, one, I don't see them playing the transition offense. Obviously Giannis, he likes to get out on the break and kind of orchestrate from that standpoint. In the half court, he's not going to be a distributor. But that's really the only way I see him getting assists is in the transition. And I don't know who he's going to end up passing it to. They've got Wiggins, and obviously if they can mesh him and Bam well together somehow, then, he could be scary good. But I think we're weighing that potential in as, we respect who he is and what he can do. But I can't see him finishing top 3 this year or moving forward with the likes of Jokic and Wemby and Luka with such potential on their front to kind of carry that. Maybe Giannis jumps to 4. That'd probably be the highest I could see it. But, he's been putting up 32 and 12 and 5 for the last couple of seasons when he's healthy. And he'd finish on average in the top 2 or 3, but he hasn't really been healthy all those years either. So that's another factor is he's only getting older. Yeah,
no, for sure. So I can't put him any higher than that just because we just don't know. He's just in such a different situation. And so it'll be interesting. It'll be something that somebody takes a chance on and maybe it hits for him, but who knows? Or you could be somebody that you turn around and you're like, well, he's a great player. Somebody in my league may look at that and really love him and want to take that chance. So you draft him and then ship him off for a bunch of pieces or something like that. But that's for later on in this season to talk about.
Yeah, and you know what you're getting from him. That's the nice part is he is who he is. His game's not really going to change much. So as long as he's there and healthy, that's kind of what you can expect from him. So
for sure,
it just may not be as high of a potential as it once was, especially compared to these younger guys that are moving up the charts.
No, absolutely. Moving in, we have 2 guys. I think I'm going to put these 2 as in the same tier here, but one of them didn't play at all last year, so you don't know coming back from an injury. That's Tyrese Haliburton. We have him. What's that? So that's 8th or 9th.
Yeah, we've got him 8.
Yeah, and so then you have after that Jason Tatum. Both of these guys don't play a lot of last season. In Jason Tatum's case, but when he did play last year, 42.4 fantasy points a game. I mean, he came in firing, playing awesome, and so it's like, I mean, you can't help but go, you have a whole healthy offseason. You're going to come in. He looked great in the playoffs. Like, wow. Like, I can't. And then now you have no Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he goes for monster numbers this year. He could even be semi near the MVP race. But I'd love to get your opinion on Tyrese Haliburton here.
Yeah. So starting with Tyrese, I mean, he's a tricky one for me from a fantasy lens because it really depends on his distribution. The last year he was healthy was averaged 18, 9, and 4, 9 being the assist mark, which I would argue his weapons now compared to then much better for his style of play. Obviously, they picked up Zubac going into the trade deadline, and that alone I think helps distinguish from what he had with Miles Turner and some of those big guys when they were healthy. Because Zubac is a pretty top tier pick and roll guy. He's a good finisher around the rim.
Yeah.
He's coming off a season where he didn't really play that much. He had a bum ankle, but I think they were just sitting him so they could get a better draft pick. So I expect him to be fully healthy. The roster around him is still solid. Like they're basically going to go from last to contending for top 3-4 seed in the East. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So I just don't see how he doesn't come back. I mean, he's taken a whole year off, fully healthy. We saw with Tatum coming back a little bit sooner than he probably should have. He carried himself well. He fatigued a little bit at the end and maybe got some injuries as a result of that. But I think Haliburton kind of did the right thing in their situation to sit out the whole year and get healthy. And I mean, I can only see him improving on his numbers, 18, 9, and 4. I could see closer to 20, 21 points, 9 assists seems realistic, maybe 10.
Yeah, I think double for sure.
Yeah, so that alone, his steal mark and his blocks will probably stay about the same, but he was hovering in that top 10 range with those numbers, maybe just outside of it. So I definitely feel pretty strongly that a bounce back year is coming from him. So he doesn't scare me as much on the injury front as maybe some people might bake that into his value. So I'm willing to reach a little bit more for him than maybe where his ADP will end up. But I think 8th is pretty solid.
No. And what from Haliburton is you're getting one of the most confident guys you'll see in the NBA. So like this guy, he's got the clutch gene. This guy's got it. He just comes in and makes everybody better. He wants to make everybody better. And people are forgetting. I mean, he's still got all-star level Pascal Siakam next to him. Guys, and then you slide. I get Nembhard back to his position at 2, which he thrived in. So this team is just going to go from being one of the worst teams in the NBA to being a cohesive, really well-run team with a center now that doesn't just float around the three-point line. Like you have a center that's legit going to set massive screens, only getting everybody else more open. And so more passing lanes caused by Zubac means more assists by him. I see him easily averaging about 10 plus, maybe 11 assists a game, and then getting up to, like you said, 20 to 22 points a game. So, I mean, double every night. That's gonna rack up really quickly.
Yeah, and he's pretty efficient from the field too. 3-pointers, he's 37, 38, which is solid. 2-pointers, maybe a little bit less than what you'd want, but certainly has room to improve that, especially when you've got the rim roller that he's going to open up the lane for you in the pick and roll. So I only see that improving, and free throws, obviously, we feel fine about that. So
yeah,
I think comfortably slots right back in the top 10.
Yeah, for sure. He's out there doing East Bay dunks, man. You've seen the highlights, man. He's doing crazy things.
Post getting married and everything. He's feeling great.
It's a marriage season incoming. But no. So then, like I said, we have Haliburton a little bit above Tatum. Is there a reason why you dropped Tatum a little lower?
I just think Tatum's never been much of a double-double guy, so that factors into me. I, 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 I do agree with you. I do think MVP level season can come from him. Now, that doesn't mean fantasy MVP level season. So that's
right.
where we kind of make our distinction. But,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he looked great coming off that surgery and the time off. And now he's got even more time to rest and fuel confidence in his leg. And I just when you get rid of Jaylen Brown, obviously they bring in Paul George. We can't trust Paul George. We know that. We've been through this. Even if he's healthy and playing, he's a step down from Jaylen Brown in terms of shot creation, volume, kind of across the board. It's Tatum's team. It's always been Tatum's team, but even more so now to where they're going to need him to kind of be close to that 30-point scoring a night to really have a chance to continue to be a top seed in the East. So I just see a lot more opportunity than he had previously, and it's clearly his team, which I think will give him even more confidence to just kind of put the team on his back. And they do have some solid role players that they brought in as well that I think will complement him well. So I think it only helps support, him and Brown kind of had to run out there by themselves for a while until they got some more pieces around them to help win the championship. And it's a pretty solid team, even though they lost some pieces.
Yeah. And people talk about like Paul George. I mean, he's a good player still. Like, I know he doesn't play much and like the injury history is whatever, but he's coming into this. He every stop he's been at, he's been asked to be the number 2 guy or more. Mm-hmm. And it's like now he's older in his career. Everybody knows his injury history. He's coming into Boston, and Joe Mazzulla is just going to look at him and be like, hey, we need you to be like a solid role player, 3, like maybe 3 and D, probably more because he's capable of more, but like just be number 2 to Jason Tatum. And when Jason Tatum's off the floor, like this is where you can kind of go, but you have solid point guards to run that offense for Paul George. Like I trust Pritchard. I trust even like Hauser and these guys that just know the offense well. So Derek White, these guys who can just slow the game down for Paul George, who can sometimes get a little ahead of himself. So I trust that, and I trust that Jason Tatum can play well off of that more than having to be like, all right, Jason, well, we're going to have to give 5 or 6 plays to Jaylen Brown here, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to, okay, Jason, here you go, Jason. No, you get yours. And so then we'll just go do this back and forth where it's not like somebody is fighting to be the number 1. Rather, people have to find roles.
Right, which is, I think, only going to elevate his game to be the spotlight, be the guy. I've always felt that he's the guy. I'm not a Boston fan. I haven't heard from their side, but everybody that was kind of a Jaylen Brown truther, I'm like, he's never been the guy.
No.
He's willing to step up when he needs to, for sure. He's a great player, but Tatum is the guy in Boston. He always has been, and he probably will for the next 10 years. So
for sure,
I think it's time that he takes the reins and goes for it.
For sure. Moving on to the next guy, we have Scotty Barnes, who I don't really particularly want to lump him into the next like tier of guys. It's hard because I just believe in his step. I do worry a little bit about if Kawhi goes there because that fit can be a little clunky. Like 2 mid-range guys, kind of play the same thing. So that could be a little interesting. But my big thing is if he can shoot the way he shot in the playoffs from 3, his game's gonna explode because the way he finishes around the basket's insane. His defense is insane. Like defensive player of the year candidate every year, I think, coming up. I mean, Wemby's almost a shoe-in every year, but like Scotty Barnes gave him a run for his money a little bit there towards the end. But I mean, he's like I said, double threat. His playmaking needs to be shown, but if he can score the way he scored in the playoffs, that's why I put him clearly 10th, 9th and 10th.
Absolutely. I think you highlighted his weakness being the 3-pointer, and not that it's been particularly bad. It's just if there's one thing that can really improve his draft stock, that's certainly it. Obviously, volume, he's played there where they've had 3 or 4 options pretty much every year, and he's still been able to distinguish himself as the guy with Barrett and with Ingram and a couple other guys that I'm blanking on. But I do worry as well with the Kawhi move. Obviously, we're trying to treat it with as much information as we have. If Kawhi doesn't go there, I mean, he could go beyond top, 10th. He might finish like we had him late first round, like 7th or 8th, probably, when we kind of mocked him in our previous shows. If Kawhi goes there at the same time, Kawhi's shown that he can play with stars as well. So, he's played with stars in LA and even with Toronto a little bit to some respect.
He's never not played with stars.
Yeah,
that's the whole point. Is that like
exactly.
Kawhi he had Pascal Siakam, who was all-star that year, I think. Kyle Lowry, who was aging but a star. So
obviously the Spurs, he had a plethora of talent. So I know he can play with them. It's just how are they going to kind of determine who's more of the guy on ball, off ball. I think Scotty Barnes can do both. So I think we see the great potential in him. There's a lot of risk still with Kawhi kind of baked into that. So we're feeling pretty confident like we had, just maybe with a little bit more precaution to put him 10th instead of 7th or 8th. I think that's pretty comfortable for me, at least, right around that turn. If you're looking at, especially with his position too, if you want to build around a small forward, power forward mold, it's hard to find good small forwards these days for fantasy. So kind of locks him in as your go-to guy, especially on the turn. You can get another top talent right there. I'd be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, he ADP last year was 30, which I thought was crazy low. He ends up for 39 fantasy points per game and finished 7th in total points per game. So the guy just fills up stats, steals and blocks, and he just gets everything. So it's like very much worthy of an end of the first round, especially if you're doing a turn. So you have your 10, 11, even if you have your 10 and then you have what? 3 picks, 4
11, 12,
picks,
13, 14, 15, 10 and 15, something like that.
That's still pretty comfortable because you're going to get top end talent there at the turn. So
and like you said, he's been healthy his whole career.
Yeah.
Like, knock on wood, we spend a lot of time talking about Michael Bridges, and how he's healthy every year. I mean, you never know with injuries. So all you can do is just assume that he's going to continue to have the same bill of health that he's had in his career, and that's been great. So. Yeah, I'd feel pretty confident taking him right there.
No, most definitely. This next group of guys, I'll lump them all in together. We have Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, and then Anthony Edwards, which can be honestly interchangeable. Who knows what's going to happen here? Donovan Mitchell's a tough one. Hey, we'll go down in order. Trae Young, who misses a lot of last year, but when he did play, 31.7 fantasy points per game, and was drafted 10th last year, like in an ADP. Like, people believed in him a lot, which they should, because he's a high scoring, high facilitating, not going to give you anything else. So, but that double threat, which he is every single game, is worthy of a top second, two. I guess this will be 11th. So you're coming around the turn and having him be your number one guard. Like, I'm happy with that.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, he's proven year in, year out. He's pretty much a 21 and 10 guy every year. Plus the three-pointers add extra value depending on your league setting. Pretty efficient from three. He had a little bit of a down year last year at 34%, but I could see him getting back up to 37, especially on a higher volume. He's going to be on a much better team. That's the main thing, obviously. Yeah. Everybody drafted him at 10 last year because he was the guy in Atlanta still. He was, Jalen Johnson was still taking the reins from him at that point, but obviously with his health and then getting traded, he didn't play a lot. So I feel like last year is now happening this year to where he's going to be the facilitator of this new offense with Washington, and he's going to have the best weapons he's ever had around him. I mean, let's not forget the team he took to the playoffs, to the ECF, and I mean, they had a couple of guys, but overall, it's not quite LeBron 07 finals trash, but it's pretty close. So it's impressive what he was able to do in his time in Atlanta with limited weapons and with his own flaws. So I think fantasy-wise, I'd feel pretty solid taking him on the turn, especially as my first guard or something at that spot to 21 and 10, 21 and 11.
Yeah,
that's easily. I'm definitely seeing that.
No, for sure. And there's no competition for him. Like, who else is going to play point guard for them? Nobody. So I'm interested that maybe Bob Carrington, but
yeah, I thought that too. And
not really.
I have offloaded all of my shares of Bob Carrington.
But yeah, no. So moving on to number, I guess 12, we have Donovan Mitchell here. Now, for me, so he gets drafted ADP 20 last year. And then points per game was 42 and a half, and then finished 12th overall in total points. Good season for him. If they don't end up getting James Harden to sign back, which I don't know, their cap space is crazy. So
Yeah,
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what James Harden's going to do. What he thought was going to happen. Maybe LeBron go in there. I don't know. But if Harden's not there, then the sky's the limit for Donovan Mitchell for sure. I'm buying Donovan Mitchell stock there. But
yeah, I would put it 90% Harden's there. So even with that, like he showed last year, it's Mitchell's team, and he has gotten even more efficient as he's aged to where I generally trust his scoring abilities. His playmaking numbers, those dipped a little bit with the addition of Harden. Obviously, Harden's going to run a lot of the offense at any given point, but when Mitchell's in there, he's looking to score, and he distributes, he gets you some steals. Like, I just feel like his consistency is, obviously he's not at the level of Shea, but the amount of games he plays and the way he plays leads himself to fantasy value. So finishing at 12 last year, I mean, we conveniently ranked him at 12. I think just availability and the offense being the number one option on a pretty solid team, like he's going to have a lot of opportunity. So I feel like 12 is solid.
I feel like he should be a better defender than he is, like statistically. But he just kind of, I don't know, just doesn't really play hard. Maybe because he has such the offensive burden. But like, steals numbers got to be up. I mean, he's so fast, so long. His arms are so long. Like he's 6'10" wingspan. Like I just feel like his blocks and steals would be up higher than they typically are. But that's kind of what drops him in my eyes to the most part. But
yeah, it'd be nice to have a couple more steals because usually from the guard position you're hoping for points, assists, steals. I think he's a pretty solid on-ball defender. It's just the stats don't follow. Sometimes that happens with players that are good at defense. You don't get the stat, but
true. But I'm interested in that. I'm interested to see if his playmaking can continue to rise a little bit. If he can just get that up a little bit. But he's never been much of a playmaker. He's more of just like a true shooting guard, like going to score you hope 25 points a game, and if he can't get that, then fantasy value is going to slip a little bit. The next guy, which I think a lot of people are going to be a little surprised by that we have him so low, at 13 we have Anthony Edwards, who ADP was 6 last year, 41.8 fantasy points per game, 28th in total fantasy points, and that's why I dropped him, is because like he had a healthy season to an extent, and he just couldn't produce at the level that you would want him to. I don't know. The team has been his. They gave him the keys a couple years ago. He's just not, especially trading Towns. Like that really was like, okay, cool. We're going into this season like you're gonna be the guy, 100%, and just bombed threes and like crazy, and just didn't really produce like you wanted him to. For sixth ADP.
Right, which unfortunately I was the guy taking him at 6, which, he has such hype and such potential to be a star. The league loves him. He's a very likable guy. So it makes sense that he could make that leap. It's just for a fantasy lens, he's not really the mold of player that lends himself to fantasy value, unfortunately. Like, he's a great scorer. He doesn't really do a whole lot else for you. He'll get you some rebounds, some assists, but I mean, defensive numbers, he'll get a couple blocks here and there. It's kind of scoring and not enough volume everywhere else to really get him into that top 10. Obviously, he's still a good contributor for you, and he'll have some breakout games, but consistency-wise, he's not going to be top 10 worthy when you've got those guys that are just producing kind of across the board or double-double, triple-double threats that he's just not. And then you add in, obviously the roster's much, much different this year to where LaMelo's going to be running point and taking his shots. And obviously I still think Ant's going to get his, but I can't see how it necessarily benefits him fantasy wise. It'll help their team probably, but what do you think about the mesh with them two?
I think LaMelo is a great playmaker, and he's the best playmaker that Anthony Edwards has played with so far in his career. I mean, it's shit to see how that goes, but like you talked about, LaMelo Ball is not going to shy away from shooting the ball, and like shots are going to fly from 40 feet, like and so I do think it helps him, honestly. Like I think that's why I don't want to drop him too far. And if I'm doing the turn, I'm really thinking about him. Like especially if you're a 12-team league, I'm really thinking about taking him above maybe Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell. I kind of in my list, I think I had him above those guys.
You did,
but I don't know. The ball's got to go somewhere, and him and LaMelo are going to take up a lot of shots. So it worries me a little bit. Like if you're in an efficiency league where. Yeah, he's gonna hurt you a lot shooting as many as he should shot. And I hate that he doesn't get you much of anything else. His rebounds were always like 5, and his assists are like 3, and he gets you a couple steals maybe, and doesn't block maybe a block a game, and it's like that's generous. I don't think he gets really that much either. But it's like I wish that you could count on him somewhere else other than just like, okay, you have to score 30 points a game, and that's it.
Yeah, part of me wonders too, is it a maturity thing to where he's still super young to where you see him on the court, there's times he's not invested, even full games. It's like, I mean, where's this guy been? But then he comes back the next game and he's dropping 50 on you and tomahawk dunks and he's fully invested on defense. I'm like, as he ages, I think it'll probably even out a little bit more, but we'll see how he meshes with LaMelo, and having that extra talent, I do think might motivate him more, especially as he's continues to not win in the postseason. But man, when you got Rudy Gobert on your team, it's hard. It's really hard.
Who's just standing there calling for the ball every chance he gets. It's like, dude,
it's like I'm never gonna beat Wemby.
Look, at some point in time, you are 17 years in the NBA?
Yeah.
You are not gonna be an offensive focus. Just get down there and rebound the ball and go play defense and take your $20-30 million to the bank every year. Like, what are you doing?
Never miss an opportunity for Rudy slander.
He just stands down there like, put your hands down. It's ridiculous. But no, moving on. This is going to be probably one of our biggest jumps, especially into the top 20. And I'm excited about this.
Okay.
We have Cooper Flag.
Yes.
Cooper Flag, 34th in ADP last year, 37.7 fantasy points per game, 24th total points. Like that's where he finished. This guy took a team that was literally garbage. I mean, he was playing point guard for most of the first half of the season, and then finally they transitioned him into like his natural 3 to 4 spot, and he just took off, scoring 43 and like 50, a couple 50-point games and a couple 40-point games, and like just took off at the end of the season. Stole, for some people, the Rookie of the Year, which never was a doubt for me. This guy has all the potential. He gets Kyrie Irving back this year. The roster looks better. You're counting on Derek Lively to play more than 7 games. And so, like, this roster, I know that on paper it doesn't look like they did very much, but they did a lot for him. He's got shooting all around him. The spacing is going to be there. I'm excited to see this guy. I mean, obviously, I'm a Mavs fan, so I'm really excited. But, like, I'm just excited as a fantasy basketball player. This guy's going to explode going into his second season, and I am pledging my allegiance to the flag. That's for sure.
I love it.
Yeah,
we are absolutely flag planting, second round value, Cooper Flag this year. And not even like back end second round. We've felt good enough that we're going middle of second round, 14 or 15, I think is where we have him. 14 here for our purposes.
14.
He averaged 21, 6, 4.5 last year with some of the worst point guards in the league at the time. And he's getting back one of the best point guards in the league. That's only going to elevate him. Just that alone is enough to increase his scoring, increase his efficiency, get him where he needs to be on the floor. I think he'll get him more opportunities to shoot even the 3 ball. This guy is absolutely going to explode. I could see him going 25 and close to 10, probably a little less on assists. That's fine. He's locked in on the defensive side as well. He's going to get you a block and a steal every game. I mean, he's primed for a top 15 finish. I mean, he could go higher, but I think it's crazy. He finished 24th in total points, and he missed about a month last year.
Yep.
And just because that's how dominant he was when he played. I get the argument with Khan playing virtually every game, setting records with 3-pointers for a rookie. That's all great. If you watch basketball and you watch the game, you know that Cooper Flagg deserved that award. Yeah. And he honestly could probably not challenge for MVP this year just because of the guys that we've named above him. But most improved is not out of the question, even though he played incredibly well last year. So I think the Mavs will have a great jump this year from obviously terrible to potentially play in contention. So we're very high on Flagg this year.
Absolutely. I think they honestly have a chance to be top 6. Like if they can, I mean, pushing probably 6th place, but if Kyrie comes back healthy, like he's showing and he's saying that he is, and you get a healthy season out of Derek Lively, and PJ Washington comes back and has a healthy season and doesn't step on a ball on a pre-game thing and never has an ankle. His ankle is never the same. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have Najee Marshall play point guard 90% of the year. You're automatically going to be better than you were the year before. I mean, just to say, like, I don't know. I love this kid's future. I love the resilience that he has. He has the fight, and I see the work ethic. Like he just shows every time I see him. It just seems like he's got better and better and better throughout the season. I'm excited for what he's going to bring to next season. And if I am sitting, like we talked about, this is the turn range, right? So that's why I keep saying it. I don't know, like as just a fan, like I don't know, but also he just contributes to every stat, all 5 of the major stats. He's going to contribute every single game. Hard not to take him, especially if you don't know what you're going to get going into like round 3 and 4. I would consider him definitely around 11 to 14, like we have him.
Yeah, and that's why I put him where he is above some of the next names we'll talk about here.
Yeah,
because he has that 5 cat. He's able to step into all of those, whereas some of the guys below him maybe not. They might outpace him if they play really, really well, but his potential is just through the roof.
Yeah, for sure. These next couple guys, so we have Sengun, Brunson, and then you were real high on Giddey, which I'm a little lower on Giddey, but we'll get to him in a little. But we'll talk about Sengun and Brunson. Alpi, I was high on him last year. I took a stretch. So he ADP last year, they say it was 22. I think I ended up taking him like 12th or something.
Were you? Was it that high?
I took him like real early, 2nd round, because I just believe my draft philosophy is like my first round is best player available, and then 2nd round is like I'm looking for somebody who can give me multiple stats and push for maybe a 3rd stat. And I believed in his triple-double potential. And so he ends up 41.7 points and 11th total in total points. So
I think you justified that pick.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, sounds like I did okay. But going into this season, I just am a little bit lower on him than I was last year because his defense is horrible. his fit with Kevin Durant's not good. They didn't like playing with each other. It didn't seem chemistry was really bad. No point guards there still. Fred VanVleet comes back, and Marcus Smart's there, so maybe it helps him out a little bit. But yeah, I'm a little lower on him than I was last year. But I'll let you go.
Me too. But think of it this way: I mean, we're putting him at 15, which is higher than he was going last year, ADP wise. Lower than where he finished. So I feel like that's a pretty good balance there. Where I might even I think I'm a couple spots lower, but I mean, top 20 is still phenomenal place to be. So I think we just will see a little bit less on the passing than he had last year. Not that it was super high numbers, but with VanVleet and Smart, that's a much better point guard situation that they had. They might be a little bit more of a cohesive team to where it might help his efficiency a little bit more. I mean, they were so lackluster on the offensive side in the half court that they didn't know what they were doing out there. It was just give this person the ball, let him shoot, get out of the way.
Yeah, right.
Mostly Kevin Durant, which is why Durant finished like top 10 in points. But I think it's going to be a much different offense next year. I hope it's a much different offense next year because it was very clunky and not fun to watch for sure. And when you get swept by the Lakers or almost swept by the Lakers with that team, it's pretty bad. So I do still like his potential there. They still clearly have invested in him. I thought he might be on the trade market, but it seems like they want to keep him around. So I think his value stays about where he finished, just a little bit lower with having those point guards. So 15 seems like a reasonable spot.
No, for sure. I think he still gives you a chance to have a triple double, definitely double double every game. So that's why he stays definitely firmly in the top 20 for me. But moving on, we've got Jalen Brunson coming up next at 16, which could see him going a little higher.
Really?
But, well, I don't know. Like, it just depends on how you feel. Like, this is where you get into draft like strategy here, and like if you're higher on point guards, if you're higher on centers, like you can see guys move around a little bit. But Jalen Brunson, 39.6 fantasy points per game, and then ended up 15th in total points per game. Points, I guess, throughout the season. Coming off a championship, he may have a little bit of championship buzz here. But he's going to give you what he always gives you. He's going to give you 25 points a game, and he's going to give you about 6 assists and nothing else. A couple, maybe a steal, but like not really. So it's just, I don't know. I see him going around where he was last year.
Yeah. Where did he go last year? Like 19, 20?
Yeah, 21.
Yeah, that's where I took him last year, about 21, which that's where I have him again this year. Surprise, surprise. I mean, our weighted average brings him up a little bit, but
yeah, right.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly what he does. And I mean, this is the guy that's the reigning basketball player of the year, or what was it, athlete of the year?
NBA player of the year or something like that.
Come on, guys. This guy, he's not even our top 10 in fantasy. He's not even a top 10 NBA player in general.
No.
Is that a hot take? I don't think so.
No, he's not top 10.
I guess New York media just weighs higher than everything else. So
it's all recency bias.
It is.
It's how the SPs worked every year.
Yeah. But obviously, yeah, I could see him finishing as a second round type player. I think probably back end, maybe at the turn of the second, third round. But he is consistent and he is generally healthy. He'll have some ankle flare ups here and there, but like we saw last year, he finished 15th, and I think that's a pretty solid landing spot for him. He's pretty much got the same team around him, solid players that he can distribute to, and kind of knows his role. So I don't see any reason to move him much higher or much lower.
Yeah. No, I think it's pretty much signed, sealed, delivered. He's just a consistent guy. And if you like consistency on your team, I mean, hey, by all means, I get it. But second round, two rounds, and I'm looking for a little more upside than what Jalen Brunson can give you.
Exactly.
So I think that leads into what you must be thinking about this guy. Josh Giddey had 17. ADP was 26 last year. Ends 40.1 fantasy points per game, and then 56 in total fantasy points. This is where I was like, I just don't know why top 20 here, but go ahead.
Yeah, so here's my case for him, and obviously I know you're quite a bit lower on him, so that's fine. He's going to run the offense in Chicago. He was not healthy last year. They were a terrible team. Pretty much after the All-Star break, he didn't really play that much. So his per-game numbers, while they weren't great, I do see him running the offense this year with a much improved roster to where it was last year. Not necessarily the talent, but the cohesion, and they had so many guards last year that they were just plugging and playing, and like, oh, we'll ship him off. We trade for Simons and Jaden Ivey, and just all of these things that I don't think he had the full control of the offense, even though that's what they brought him in to do. So this year they have a much better construction where they've got Caleb Wilson, they've got Buzelis, they've got Claxton in the pick and roll for him. I think he's going to be more of that triple-double guy that we saw in flashes the year before that when he first got there, to where having that potential is just so valuable around that area. Maybe he ends up finishing in the upper 20s or something, where I think where you have him.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to pass on that potential at that spot to where I thought last year is kind of where I see him this year, if that makes sense. So
yeah. No, it definitely makes sense. Like I can see the pathway for him. I guess my thing is just like I never liked his play style, and I think he relies a lot on transition, and I think that's where a lot of his assists come from. I don't see a lot of. I mean, I'll say this: I'm not sitting there live streaming Bulls games the past couple of years, but the ones I have watched, I just don't see him doing a lot of like in the half court playmaking. So this team is built to run, and I do agree that he's going to get assists that way. He's going to push the ball. He's a big guard. He can get to the basket. He can't shoot, and that drives me crazy. That your number one knock on you for years has been that you can't shoot, and you haven't improved at all, really. Like he had an okay season, I think, a couple years ago when he first got to the Bulls, and then past season is not been. He just didn't shoot well. So it's like I have little faith in like his get up and go and like being able to like motive. I don't know. It's like his I guess effort levels just don't seem to be there. So that's why I mean, we'll talk about these next three guys, but I had Tyrese Maxey way above him, which we have in the next slot here. 17th ADP last year, 46 fantasy points per game, finished 5th overall in fantasy points. I know we're going to put him a little low because of the fit of Philly. We don't know how it's going to work. LeBron's apparently going to play point guard. So that takes the ball out of Tyrese Maxey's hands, if that's the truth. VJ Edgecomb's going to take a step, I think. Jaylen Brown comes in and is going to want the ball because he thinks he's going to be the number one guy. Embiid's going to come in and be healthy at the beginning of the season, so he's going to want the ball. I think the team will eventually, if they're smart, they'll realize that Maxey's their number one guy and hopefully shift that team towards that. But to start the season, it's going to start slow, I think. And that's kind of where I'm like, well, all these other guys not going to start slow. They know exactly what they're coming into.
Yeah, totally agree. You took all of my words. The only thing I can add is if they realize that, like you said, it'll be later in the season, but there's no way that he's going to be putting up the numbers that he was last year because Embiid was out. They didn't have anyone else. Paul George was out. Like this, everything was going through Maxey. He did get hurt for a bit there at the end to where he still finished that highly. That's how good he was playing in the role that he was in. So there's just no way that his opportunity is going to be that high. It's going to look completely different. There's so many more mouths now. And I can't see him getting his assist numbers. Scoring, maybe that might hold, but even that was very elevated last year. So I do feel like he's that good of a player to where I had to keep him in the second round. It was hard to push him past that, but I think what do you have in 16? Like that's kind of where we're. I think
right
that's
now
kind of split. 18. Okay, I feel pretty solid about that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think the same thing, and I think. Luckily for him, they didn't add anybody, and I would have been worried about this. That is like a big, just a big. Honestly, I mean they have Embiid, but like if they would have traded Embiid for another like, gotta have the ball in the post, like just fill up space. I'd have been a little more worried because Tyrese Maxey is very much a downhill player, and if you take that away from him, then points are going to go down, assists are going to go down, like all these things are probably going to go down for him. But anyway, that's kind of where I landed on him. The last two guys I hate the fact that we put this guy as high as he is.
I'm so sorry.
Anthony Davis, 19. The fact of the matter is, if this guy plays, he's unstoppable, and he's a fantasy beast. I mean, ADP was 8 last year, 41.3 fantasy points per game when he played. Didn't play at all. Like, let's just get that very clear.
41.3 points. How did you get that in one game?
One possible. Game, yeah. Right. So, but the fact of the matter is, if I'm sitting there at 20, and Anthony Davis is on the board, and I know he's going to be healthy to start the season, I probably am taking him. Honestly,
yeah. I mean, you're thinking I'm getting a steal here. I'm getting a top 10 guy at the turn of the second round. If he's healthy, like that's the whole argument, and it's so hard to.
And he crushes you every year.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I'll probably not take him there. But it's going to be really hard to pass. I mean, you've got the whole new offense in Washington with Trey and DeBonsa, and I mean even Sarr is going to be there, and they've got a pretty solid team. I'm like, he could have just a stellar year. So I wanted to slide him more and more down. I kept moving him down, and finally I hit this point where I'm like, but what if he just absolutely goes off and he's healthy finally? Like, that could be scary.
His blocks are insane. His rebounds insane. He's going to score 20 to 25 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate it so much because I'm going to sit there. I know for a fact I'm going to have the 22nd pick or something, 20th pick, and he's going to be sitting there staring me in the face with this ugly unibrow. And I'm going to be like, I have to take you, because if I don't, then I feel like an idiot when Doug takes him at 32, and then he freaking goes and has like a top 6 fantasy season. And you're like, because he's playing with Trae Young, who's the best point guard that he's probably played with in his career. It's arguably LeBron, but we'll see. Let the listeners debate on that one.
Yeah,
but anyway. So I just can't talk about him anymore. He's gonna make me mad. So the last guy on this list, and we can debate until the mornings about this guy, Kawhi Leonard. You have 20th. You had him way higher than me.
I did.
I took him last year in the 5th round, which was a steal because he ends up finishing 21st overall, 43.4 fantasy points per game. And like I said, ADP was around 52. So that's about average where I took him. I don't know what is going to happen. He could be suspended the whole season.
Yeah.
So, like, if this suspension thing goes up into your draft, he's undraftable. Like, I'm not drafting him at all unless maybe last pick in the draft. I don't know. Like, for me, it's like I can't count on him at all. So taking him top 20 is tough.
Yeah, I agree. I think I had to rank him there knowing I'm not going to take him at that spot, but out of respect for what he brings you on a fantasy perspective, like if he plays, he's probably going to finish somewhere in that range, maybe give or take 5 spots. But I feel like especially going to Toronto, he's going to have better weapons around him. Yeah. I do think he'll end up figuring out how to mesh well with Scotty Barnes. He'll still probably be the alpha, getting the shots that he wants. Kawhi is Kawhi. He's efficient. He's going to score. He's going to get you defensive. He is. You know what you get from him when he plays and he's healthy, and that's the only question mark. And it's a big question mark, but hopefully we find out more information where we can kind of update our rankings when the season gets closer. But it's hard for me to slide him out of that top 20.
The NBA hasn't done anything for a year and a half, so I don't think they're gonna go and get on their high horse now. So it's like. I don't know. I don't know what to do with him because he is another guy like Anthony Davis, like very good player. I took him 5th round, loved it. He played his butt off, played a lot of the season. It was great for me, but like I can't, especially with the trade he's going to go to a new team if he does play. I don't know the fit of that. It's going to be clunky at first. Now the positive thing is if Scotty Barnes can't shoot, well, you know what? Kawhi Leonard can. So that at the very least, they have an offense that they can run where Kawhi is now kind of a spacer rather than this, like, you have 2 guys who can't. But
right. Yeah. The only caveat I would say is because I won't draft him, like, the only reason I wouldn't is you want somebody on your second pick because that's going to be your second pick unless you're on the turn or whatever. Your second or third pick, you really need that consistency and you need that upside to where you don't want risks in the top 2-3 picks. After that, it starts to get a little like 4th, 5th round. Yeah, I can take a little bit more risk, but I want 2-3 solid guys that are going to play every game if possible, barring some unforeseen injury, and that have that kind of triple-double, double-double upside that you can get from Kawhi. It's just I don't want to take that risk at that given spot, but he could definitely finish there if he plays and is healthy.
For sure. But I think that kind of rounds out our top 20. Feel pretty good about it. We'll see. The way these things go, you never know what's going to happen throughout the season. But I feel good about it. I feel good about this going into any draft that I'm going to be in. Plus or minus a few things. You never know. People take LeBron in the 1st round or something. So people fall to you or whatever. So it's fun. It's fun to think about. It's fun to debate about. That's kind of the whole point of this, though. So
I will bet you $5 that Trae Young outscores total fantasy points Anthony Edwards this year.
Anthony Edwards? All right, I'll take it.
Okay.
What about Cooper Flag?
No. It's got to be Anthony Edwards.
All right, I'll take it.
Nice.
So, but no, great show as always. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for being around, sticking around. Please follow us. We love this.
Mm-hmm.
Love what we do here.
We'll send you some merch, maybe.
Really nice. If we get enough followers, we'll start putting these things out, and maybe y'all can cop it yourselves, and it'd be great. But everybody have a great week, and we'll see y'all next time.